Hello everybody, my name is Jason and I am an ISFP. In this video, I am going to be starting my series on the cognitive functions and how they present themselves in the ISFP. Now, if you look at the ISFP function stack, the hero function, or some would call it the dominant function or the lead function, is introverted feeling. If you don't know what that means, go back and watch my video on the cognitive functions. I have one specifically about the judging functions of feeling, and so you can watch that one to know what introverted feeling is all about. The parent function, or some would call it the auxiliary function, or the second function in the stack, is extraverted sensing for the ISFP. The third function, the child function, some would call it the tertiary function, is introverted intuition. And again, if you don't know what these functions are, go back and watch my videos on the cognitive functions. And then the inferior function, or the fourth function, is extroverted thinking. Yeah, sorry. I got sidetracked for a minute because something just popped up on my phone there and it distracted me. Sorry about that. Anyway, extroverted thinking. Now, we'll get into the shadow functions in time, but right now we're going to focus just on those first four functions: introverted feeling, extroverted sensing, introverted intuition, and extroverted thinking. Now, I'm doing this series on how the functions present themselves in the ISFP, and it would be logical to just start right off with the hero function and dive right into it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to start off with the parent function, or the auxiliary function, which for the ISFP is called extroverted sensing. Now, when you really get deep into understanding cognitive functions and the personality types, you'll find that there are some people that favor their hero function and their child function, or if you prefer, their dominant function and their tertiary function, okay? So objective personality calls those jumpers. Others, if you're not familiar with objective personality, that's a YouTube channel. It's a really good one. Got a lot of interesting information. I don't agree with everything they say, but I do agree with a lot of it. Others call that the loop. So like getting in the hero-child loop, where you're just constantly functioning primarily or favoring your first and third functions and kind of skipping your second. So for some ISFPs, that extroverted sensing is going to be really strong and important in their life. For others, it might not be as much. So for me, extroverted sensing is like huge, amazing. It's like, it's not everything to me. Introverted feeling is my hero function. It's kind of everything to me, but extroverted sensing just absolutely has its way, has a say in everything that I think, everything that I do. It's a big deal. So extroverted sensing is, remember, yes, it encapsulates, the senses: seeing, smelling, hearing, feeling, tasting, but it's so much more than that. It's the part of our mind responsible for causing us to live in the now, to be focused, not just to be aware of what's going on around you, but to be focused on it. To not only be able to see what's around you, but really to not be able to unsee it. With extroverted sensing, if it's playing a huge role, if it's really strong, you can't help but hear every little sound, see every little detail. The details matter so much. I was having a conversation just today with my INFP wife, who's very focused on the future and big ideas. And she's like, she made some comment, I don't remember her exact words, about not getting bogged down in the details. And I'm like, the details are everything for me. Okay, with extroverted sensing as my parent function, and it being a big part of how my brain works, the details are everything to me. Extroverted sensing causes me to live in the now. Now, this is something I was interacting with someone on an ISFP Facebook page today, and she's not an ISFP, but she was asking questions about her ISFP husband, trying to understand him better. She asked the question, is it true that you ISFPs don't like to plan? I answered yes, yes, yes. I hate to plan. I wake up every morning and I formulate a plan for my day in my head. I don't really think about it. It's just there. Like, I just wake up in the morning knowing, okay, these are the things that I want to do today. Now, I understand that, we have jobs and obligations, and sometimes you have to think about the fact that, oh, I got to be up tomorrow at such and such a time, or I've got to be prepared for this meeting that's coming up in a week or whatever. But I hate to plan. I hate it. I don't want to think about tomorrow. I don't even really care to think about, people talk about planning like a month from now, a year from now. Literally, I don't want to think about tomorrow. I want to wake up every day and do what I want to do today. Now, for the ISFP, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we just want to do what we want to do. We're very freedom-minded people. We're very let me do what I want kind of people. And a lot of that comes more from our child function of NI, introverted intuition. But extroverted sensing has us living in the now. Why would I want to be wasting my time, spending significant amounts of time planning for a future that may never happen? It may never happen because I might die, right? Or it may never happen because by the time that moment gets here, everything is so different. I mean, think about what we're going through right now with this pandemic that we're all stuck in. If you had made me plan out my March and April back in January, you would have made me waste my time because I can't do any of those things now, right? So extroverted sensing comes through in me in a very live in the now way. I don't want to think about tomorrow. I get stressed when I'm forced to think about the future. I don't want to be thinking about the future, especially the distant future, but I really don't even want to be thinking about tomorrow. I like having a job where when I leave at the end of the day, when I come in tomorrow, what was going on yesterday won't matter at all. Because otherwise, if I know what I'm going to do tomorrow when I get to work, I have to think about it all night. It's going to drive me crazy. I don't want to do that. I want to go to work surprised in a sense, I don't want to be having my whole life planned out. If I go on a vacation, I don't want to have an itinerary. I just want to go and see what happens. Live in the moment. Do whatever comes next. That's how extroverted sensing shows up in me. Extroverted sensing also shows up in me in a very not only an acute awareness of my surroundings, but if my surroundings aren't pleasant to me, it drives me crazy, okay? So I want things to be clean around me. I want things to be organized. If I walk into a room and things are disorganized, I instantly can see what's disorganized and I can't unsee it, okay? I want to do the work that I have to do first, and then I can enjoy my day because I need to get those things out of the way or I'll never be able to stop thinking about them. So let me give you an example. When my wife and I first got married, she was a stay-at-home wife and then eventually a stay-at-home mom. And she cleaned the house and she did a perfectly fine job. But every Saturday morning, because I worked Monday through Friday, every Saturday morning I would wake up and I would clean the entire house. And it really, I learned in time, it hurt her feelings because she interpreted that as me saying, you don't think that the cleaning that I'm doing throughout the week is good enough. But it really wasn't that at all. It was like I had to wake up and sort of fulfill this responsibility of making my sensory environment just like I needed it to be. And then I was fine. And then I could enjoy the day. But if I try to do something enjoyable while in the back of my mind, I know, well, the dishes aren't done, or that over there needs to be dusted, or the grass needs to be cut, or whatever, I would not be able to enjoy whatever it was I was doing because I knew I had to go take care of that sensory nuisance that is over there, that is on my mind because I saw it and I can't unsee it, and it's going to drive me crazy till I fixed it. So once I fix it and make it right and make everything look the way it's supposed to look, okay, now great. Now I'm free. I can go do whatever I want. I can enjoy myself. I can have a fun day. Whatever. So extroverted sensing in me shows up in that way. Now, I'm not saying that that's all there is to extroverted sensing. There's more. But that's a huge deal for me, being able to see everything that is wrong and having this overwhelming need to make it right before I can enjoy my day. Sounds. Like I go into people's houses and they'll have the TV on and people are talking and nobody's even watching the TV, but the volume's on. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Because I can't not hear it all. It all comes together in some horrific cacophony of noise. And I could be face to face with you having a conversation, but if there's another conversation going on over there, or if the TV's on over there, I am going to have so much trouble hearing what you're saying, because it just bleeds together as this big sound mess that's going on all around me. And I need it all to go away, and I need to just focus me to you so that I can pay attention to what you're saying, okay? And it works that way with almost anything, okay? Anything that exists in the physical world, if it's not right, it's going to drive me crazy. It's gotten to the point now, honestly, where my INFP wife is so aware of this. Like the other day we woke up and she looked at me and she goes, "What's your plan for the day?" She knew that I would have these things that I had to deal with. They were going to be on my mind, and I had to deal with them first before I could do anything else. So she wants to enjoy the day. She wants to have fun. She wants to do something enjoyable, and I do too. But she understands I'm going to have to fix these things that are not right. If the grass is too tall, that's got to be cut. If the weed eating needs to be done, I've got to do that. You know, if the trash needs taken out, whatever it is, I've got to do these things. Now, I'm not saying that every ISFP is going to be a chore freak, right? But they're going to likely have their things that are like, okay, I've got to address this issue so that I can move on to this issue and enjoy things, all right? Now, if you're an ISFP and you don't experience things that way, let me know. It could be that you're a jumper, right? You skip over your SE. Your SE is not super important to you. That's very possible. But I'd love to hear from the rest of you ISFPs and let me know if you identify with these statements that I'm making. This is how extroverted sensing shows up in me. Now, keep in mind, extroverted sensing is a parent function, which means it's sort of like a responsible function. I look at taking care of my environment and what's going on around me as sort of a responsibility, all right? It's not, like extroverted sensing and the ESFP or ESTP might show up differently. It might be more like just a fun-loving, imbibe the world, take in all the sights and sounds and just enjoy the heck out of them. I like to do that too as an extroverted sensor. I very much like to do that too. But I do think there's a little bit of a responsible side to it where I'm also looking at it like, okay, but I've got to make sure that, I'm doing something responsible with this extroverted sensing. I can see the things that are messed up. I've got to fix them. I can, hear the sounds that are unpleasant. I need to reduce them. Whatever it is, okay? And then the other aspect of that with SE is very much living in the now, okay? Now, somebody had made a suggestion to me the other day on Facebook that in these videos, I really ought to compare how the cognitive functions function in me as opposed to other types. I don't want to get real deep into that in these videos because this is really meant to be how they show up in the ISFP, but I do intend to do compare and contrast videos and talk about other types in the future. So please subscribe and then you'll get to see those whenever I get into them, okay? Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye now.